Englishtown, New Jersey, a focal point of American history 2 centuries ago. It was here a revolutionary battle was fought and won by American patriots, a battle that helped turn the course of our history. Molly Pitcher brought water to those young troops from this historic well. Today, a battle of another kind will be waged, the fierce one-on-one competition of drag racing. 25,000 are here in Englishtown on a steamy hot summer day to watch the Summernationals, one of the feature events on the NHRA circuit, and a very important competition in that it marks the halfway point of the World Championship points chase. Today we'll be watching Pro Stocks, 4-speed creations that can hit 180 miles an hour in just a quarter mile. Pro Stocks especially popular with the racing fans because they resemble so much the cars they may have driven to the racetrack. We'll also watch the super fast funny car, rocket ship, that can hit over 250 miles an hour in just a quarter mile. And all the top people are here, so too is the specter of a flaming crash. The element of danger very much a part of this high-power competition. Good afternoon and welcome to Englishtown, New Jersey, and one of the feature events in drag racing, the 1983 Summernationals, National Hot Rod Association competition. I'm Don Cricky with racing expert Steve Evans. The National Hot Rod Association brings together every summer the best drivers in the world. Today we'll watch funny car competition and the Pro Stocks. There's nothing funny about this competition, though. These cars generate 2,000 horsepower running on nitromethane. They'll travel from a sanding stop to over 250 miles an hour in a quarter mile. Steve Evans, the best in the business, are here like Don Prudhomme, the 4-time world champion. He'll have a lot of competition, though.
You bet. Prudhomme really owns this race, Don. He's won it the last 3 years in a row and the last 5 out of 7. However, the number 1 qualifier is a young driver from Cincinnati, Ohio, Mark Oswald. But Prudhomme is number 2. And good year or bad year, anytime Prudhomme comes to the Summernationals, don't ever bet against him.
It just seems, though, this time of year things start to come around for us. We usually struggle the first part of the year trying new equipment and so on, and by now we're running good, and this event we're qualified number 2, so we stand a good chance to get a win in it.
Another part of our competition today is the Pro Stock competition. The cars look a lot more like street models, a whole lot different under the hood.
Oh, yes, they are. And there's 16 cars qualified in Pro Stock, Don, but I see this as a 3-man go. The number 1 qualifier, Frank Iaconio, is from here in New Jersey. He's got a definite home court advantage and, in fact, leads the World Championship points chase so far this season. The world champion, Lee Shepard, is the number 2 qualifier, and Mr. Pro Stock, Bob Glidden, is number 3. Look for one of those 3 in the winner's circle.
Today on NBC SportsWorld, we'll be watching the top fuel competition. These are really land-based rockets powered by 2,500 horsepower engines. They're capable of accelerating from 0 to over 250 miles an hour in less than 6 seconds. An outstanding field, absolutely the best are here, including 3-time world champion Shirley Muldowney. But, Steve, she's going to be challenged today.
Oh, you bet she will, even though her weekend has really gone just perfectly. Her game plan has worked. She's qualified number 5, and that's a perfect position for Shirley to strike from because she always picks up the pace on race day. Biggest surprise so far, I would say, is that Gary Beck did not qualify number 1. The world's quickest driver had some engine problems. He's back in about the number 4 slot in this 16-car field. If I were to pick a dark horse here, Don, in top fuel, it would have to be Joe Amato. Even though he's only been racing in this category for 2 years, he recently won his first national championship event, and he's qualified number 2 here in this 16-car field. He could be big trouble for Shirley Muldowney, Gary Beck, and the rest of them.
Now we go to competition in the second round. And these super-powered rocket ships are ready to burn out the tires, a tactic used to heat up the rubber for better traction.
Not only does it heat up the rubber on the tires, Don, but it also heats up the racetrack. A pair of hot, sticky tracks that the crews will back these cars right over, staging the driver on top of his own burnout tracks. In the near lane will be Jim Head, a graduate mechanical engineer from Columbus, Ohio. Jim's still looking for his first big national event victory. He'll be up against, in the far lane, Connie Coletta of Ypsilanti, Michigan. He was around back in 1955 when they ran the first big national championship race. Operates a very successful air freight service in Detroit.
Now a most important part of any top fuel competition, the staging as they inch forward, preparing to time the takeoff with the all-important green light.
And Jim Head has red lighted, Don. He over-anticipated the start and gives this race to Connie Coletta, who has a lot of sparks coming from the rear of his car.
Connie with a problem. It appears to be all right now. These top fuel dragsters running on tanks of nitromethane Very highly flammable substance, but Connie's all right and does advance now with a second-round victory over Jim Head on the foul.
As we look again at Jim Head's start, notice the front wheels on his dragster. They come up in the air almost immediately. That could have accounted for the red light, more so even than over anticipation on Head's part. They came up and out of the beam. Coletta wins it at 597, 220 miles an hour, and all of a sudden in the far lane, Connie Coletta's car starts to emit a fireworks show, really. And the color of the sparks tell you that these are magnesium sparks. There's something wrong in the clutch on Connie Coletta's car. The sparks coming from the magnesium bell housing.
But despite it all, Connie Coletta advances to the semifinals. Don Cricky with Steve Evans on a scorching summer day for the National Hot Rod Association's Summer Nationals at Raceway Park in Old Bridge Township, New Jersey. Second round competition in Top Fuel continues.
And this pairing will pit Joe Amato in the near lane against 20-year-old Scott Coletta in the far lane. Joe Amato, a wholesale performance parts dealer from Old Forge, Pennsylvania, qualified number 2, is not to be ignored. 20-year-old Scott Coletta, whose father Connie has already advanced to the semifinals, is really a professional racer. It's his job, along with crew chief Ron Barrow, to transport these cars around the country and maintain them. His dad Connie usually flies in one of his jets.
Steve, you mentioned earlier that you felt Amato was a dark horse in this competition. Could win it all. Why is that?
Well, he's got momentum, Don. He won in Montreal a couple of weeks ago. He's the number 2 qualifier. Everything's going for Joe Amato right now.
Not a good start for Amato. He smokes the tires and is well behind, but look at him recover, and Joe Amato advances to the semifinals.
Seldom will you see a driver recover and win a race as Joe Amato did here against Scott Coletta. A beautiful start by both drivers, but suddenly Amato's engine develops too much horsepower for this track. The tires are ablaze. Now Amato maintains his composure. He has to actually get off the throttle to allow those tires to hook up again. Now his speed on this run, Don, 250 miles an hour. It was that kind of top-end charge that paid off for Joe Amato. A very good drag race.
It was indeed. Amato a rising star on the Top Fuel circuit, and here is the points leader overall, Gary Beck.
Gary is one of the greatest competitors this sport has ever known, and he's driving the quickest Top Fuel dragster in the history of drag racing, the blue car in the far lane.
And here is 42-year-old Gary Beck, the overall points leader midway through the 1983 NHRA season. Gary is a former world champion, won the title in 1974. He owns the 10 quickest elapsed times in Top Fuel competition history. He's been that good a driver. But the last 2 years, Gary Beck has finished second to Shirley Muldowney in the overall championship standings at season's end. He wants to beat Shirley badly. Perhaps it will be his day.
Gary Beck from El Toro, California, the car owned by Larry Miner of Hemet, California. Gary will be racing in the near lane Gene Snow from Fort Worth, Texas. Snow at one time a professional drag racer. Now does it just for the fun of it. The oil business has paid off big for gentleman Gene.
Snow qualified 8th in this Top Fuel field. Steve, it appears that Gary Beck has a problem as he approaches the start line. He's indicating something to his crew.
And the crew is trying to find out whatever may be wrong with this engine, and they don't find anything wrong with it. They're communicating with Gary. He says that it's bad, but they don't seem to be able to find anything to repair. And Gary Beck pulls to the starting line, apparently to race Gene Snow.
Well, we'll all find out together the moment of truth in drag racing, waiting for that amber light to go to green.
Gene Snow in the near lane, Gary Beck in the far lane.
They're away and Beck doesn't leave. There was a major problem. His car never got off the line.
Gary Beck didn't even attempt to leave the starting line. So Gene Snow wins it on a single run at 5.98 seconds, 237 miles an hour, and Gary Beck puts it in reverse and backs away from the starting line. We'll have to check with Gary to be sure, but I would guess that this was an oil pressure problem. The crew was frantically trying to find a loose oil line or something that would bring that pressure up to normal, Don. Gary, a good, strong burnout. You backed up. Everything sounded fine. No indication of any problems, and you just shut it off.
Well, Steve, what happened was the oil pressure of the engine dropped after the burnout. I had good oil pressure starting the engine and in the burnout and backing up, and it was fluctuating a little bit, and then a little dry hop, and we had zero oil pressure. I mean, zero, not 20 pounds or 40 pounds, but zero.
A bitter disappointment for Gary Beck. And now Shirley Muldowney is ready for her second round run in Top Fuel. Shirley Muldowney, the most successful woman in the world in motorsports competition. Last year on NBC SportsWorld, you saw her win an unprecedented third title at the 1982 World Championships. She is the only driver to win the NHRA Top Fuel title 3 times. In fact, no one else has ever won the title more than once. She has compiled more sub-6-second runs and reached 250 miles per hour more often than any other driver, including the legendary Don Garlits. Shirley started the 1983 season in championship form, winning the Winter Nationals at Pomona, California. But since then, she has not been consistent. Right now, the leading point setter on the tour is Gary Beck, her arch rival in top fuel competition.
We feel good right now. Gary is 500 points ahead of us. That is a half a race. We better start moving now if we're going to do something.
Racing on the Muldowney team is a family affair. That's her son, John, an integral part of the countless man-hours that go into prepping a top fuel dragster for competition. John Muldowney works for his mom, and together they form a great team. Steve talked with John and Shirley about this unique relationship.
I'm spending a few quiet moments with John Muldowney down at the far end of the racetrack. Normally the only time you'd find John down here would be just for a few instants, just long enough to give his mom a tow back to the pits. John, how is it to work for an intense, competitive, professional race car driver who's also your mother?
Oh, it's pretty tough at times, Steve. As a matter of fact, yesterday we were just having a family discussion, as we call it, about certain things, and usually we just close the trailer door and work it out, and then when we come out, it's a new day.
John's learned a lot. He's grown up a lot the last few years, and we've all come of age, and it's a very, very hard business we're in. And as long as we treat it like a business and try to enjoy what we do, then I think we'll come out on top.
It's got to be a little strange, too, for a 25-year-old bachelor to take his newest girlfriend home to meet his mother, the race car driver.
Yeah, it is sort of tough. Her standards are pretty tough, so, it has to be the right person.
You spend a lot of time together at the racetrack and away from it, months and months on the road. Do you share off-track interests with your mother?
Yeah, we, as a matter of fact, just before this race, we just came from Vermont, and we fished in Lake Champlain, and we had quite a time up there. So we do a lot of things together besides race.
It's a lot of fun. He has a good sense of humor. I get a big charge out of John, and it's nice that I can spend time with my son later in life. It's really been a lot of fun for me.
Are you critical of John's girlfriends?
They're all pretty. He has a lot of girlfriends, but yes, I am, somewhat. And John always makes sure the race car's in the trailer, and then he goes out and he plays.
John, usually we hear the crowd cheering your mom on to victory, but there have been those times when the crowd's not with her, when they actually boo her. They either love her or hate her. How do you handle that?
Well, you're going to get that no matter what sport you're in, whether it be football or drag racing. And for the ones that hate you, there's a lot more that like you, and you just, you take those fans as dedicated fans, and those are the ones that I like.
But there was a time when you were not quite this philosophical about that. You got angry.
Well, people grow up.
John has grown up, both as a young man and as one of the sport's top mechanics, as his mother, Shirley Muldowney, is ready to go now in second-round competition against a very good driver from Texas, Jody Smart.
And no one, Don, has more respect for Shirley Muldowney's abilities than Jody Smart. He's raced her a dozen times and has come up a loser 11 of those 12 times. He's from San Antonio, Texas, a performance parts wholesaler, a nice guy that enjoys his drag racing very much. It's strictly a hobby for this guy.
It's not a hobby for Shirley Muldowney. She's a full-time drag racer, and her success is evident with 3 world championships.
Shirley Muldowney, the pink car in the far lane. Jody Smart, San Antonio, Texas, in the near lane. They're staged and ready. It's a beautiful start by both drivers. Some smoke off the tires of Jody Smart, but it is still Jody Smart.
A major upset here, as John Muldowney knows that the Muldowney racing team is done for this day after all the preparation. It's rare they're upset. But Jody Smart with a major one here, so now the 2 top point-standing drivers are gone. Gary Beck and Shirley Muldowney. Jody Smart advancing with an elapsed time of 5.74 seconds. He hit a speed of 251 miles per hour. Even in defeat, though, Shirley Muldowney, who doesn't lose often, takes it very well.
Shirley Muldowney congratulating Jody Smart down here at the end of the racetrack. They've raced probably a dozen times, and just a few weeks ago did Jody finally beat her for the very first time. Shirley, you hate to lose any of them, but if you do, it might as well be to a nice guy and a friend, huh?
A real good friend to everybody, and you don't mind seeing somebody like that win. He deserves it. Now he needs to sponsor somebody.
Tell me about the race, Shirley.
It was just didn't have any power. I thought the lead was good, but he just motored right away from me, so we'll go back to the drawing board maybe. Thanks.
So race day is over for Shirley Muldowney. The semifinal pairings in Top Fuel are set. It'll be Jody Smart against Connie Coletta, Joe Amato versus Gene Snow. With Steve Evans, Don Cricky back at the Summer Nationals as the fans work hard to keep cool.